Hey, greetings, folks. All right, so the next question we've got is, how do I increase my concentration? Now, this method that I'm going to share is a water element method. It uses the principle of rhythm. Our meditation object for this is going to be life force. So it's for people who have done building the ball, and people who have got the feeling of life force in their hands, that magnetic fluidic quality. And what I want you to do is open up the ball, get tuned into that feeling of life force. So you've got your meditation object, the frequency of concentration is there. So now from here, there's a rhythm of 3. 1, you release into the feeling of the energy. 2, you lock on to that frequency of the feeling. And 3, you pay attention to the stillness underneath the feeling. And we need a timer for this. So set up your phone with the timer. If you've got an option for a bell gong sound for the timer, it's even better. You want something gentle and soft, not something shocking. And set it for 10 seconds. So the gong goes off. You pay attention to the life force, that's the frequency of concentration, you release on it. So you relax your mind deeper into it. Once you've done the release, lock and pay attention to the stillness. Now, I use the word lock for beginners, but paying attention to for intermediate, and then unity for advanced. So that word will change. So we've got the frequency, life force, the gong goes off. You release your mind deeper into a deeper layer of that frequency, of the life force than you previously had. You lock onto that level, and then the moment you lock, everything starts to become quiet underneath. Now you pay attention to the stillness. Ultimately, when we've increased the amount of time on each round, you start with 10 seconds, and then you change the timer to 12, 15 seconds, 20 seconds, until you reach 2 minutes. And I don't want you to go past 2 minutes for quite a few months. The reason why, the ability or the training of the release, lock and stillness to drop through levels is a very important fundamental skill. And if you lock on and you're in the stillness observing, you're dropping into jhana, you're cultivating samadhi, but you're not actually training the flexibility of your mind to move between states. That flexibility is important. You tune into something, you release into them, you lock onto what you feel, you go to the emptiness underneath and you read it. You do psychometry to read the person, to read a frequency, to read a teacher you're interested in investigating and training with. So this skill of release, lock, stillness, you want to train that up. So that's why the rhythms are so small to start with, 10, 20 seconds. When you get to 2 minutes, you'll find that a 2-minute rhythm, once that's locked in, you can jump to a 12 to 15 minute rhythm. And once that's locked in, you can jump to a 45, 55 minute rhythm. And once that's locked in, you can jump to a 3-hour rhythm. So this is how you cultivate concentration very, very quickly to a very high level. Now, the measurement is before you move from 10 to 12 or 12 to 15 seconds and then slowly moving towards a minute, you have to make sure there's no accompanying thoughts. There's no drift in the mind. And once you start getting past the 20, 30 second mark, and then you're in that stillness observing the frequency, you'll notice there'll be a certain amount of what I call drift, where the mind has kind of lost the lock to the frequency because of just the simple nature of going to the stillness. Stillness is unstable. There's nothing to hold on to. So the mind drifts off the frequency inside the stillness. It's less grounded. When you lock, you've got something tangible to lock onto. when you are paying attention to the lock and the stillness, half of you has got something to ground and the other half is just in the stillness underneath. When you're in the pure stillness under the frequency, that's when the mind is more susceptible to drifting. The gong goes off, you release back through the frequency, go deeper, take ownership of the frequency, take ownership of the energy, and now you find yourself in a state where you can tune into something and concentrate on it. This rhythmic cycle process, it gets a beginner up to a very high level very fast because of the rhythmic loop. It keeps the mind in the state, right now I'm supposed to be releasing, right now I'm locking on, now I'm going to the stillness underneath the frequency that I've locked onto. And it builds the foundation for psychometry, it builds the foundations for concentration, it builds the foundation for entering akashic states, working with formless jhanas. Very, very fast track. I recommend that you experiment with this one till you get it, because it gives beginners, novices, the breakthrough they need to be very successful very, very, very quickly. Okay, so I hope this answers that question on increasing concentration and helps people who have been struggling with it. And this one works. It's just a simple rhythm exercise that generates concentration very fast. Okay, thanks for your time. Have fun.